You are listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'.
What is going down? What is going down? This is your boy Studio MacGyver, and you are listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'. Welcome to the show, guys. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're into anime, nerd culture, and most importantly, video games, guess what? You come to the right place because we talk about all of that shit here. This is podcast episode 431. I'm going to start with my anime watch list, and I have a whole bunch of SONY to talk about here, guys. Some of it cool, some of it not. And yeah, we're going to get into some God of War news, I guess. Not going to be a very long one. I said that last week, but ended up going pretty long. But this one, I don't think is going to go as long, guys. But anyway, let's start with the anime watch list. It's very simple. I am now watching Fire Force and am really enjoying myself. I was so happy last night to see Dr. Giovanni make a return. That's one of my favorite characters in the series. Definitely favorite villain. And so it was interesting to see him back in there. So yeah, he's definitely a hard one to figure out, man. But he's really a really good character, in my opinion, in that series. But anyway, that's it. That's the only anime I've been watching. Like I said, JJK a little bit here. I'm waiting for the dubs to catch up. And I'm contemplating just waiting until it's finished. I still haven't watched Hell's Paradise yet, which I definitely want to see that as well. So I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to wait for those three to continue after I get caught up with Fire Force. I think I have one more episode on Fire Force where I'm caught up. But after that, I think I'm going to just try to wait until those finish, hopefully, and then find some other stuff because I got some other stuff on my backlog that was pretty cool. So I'll probably just go and explore that over there. But anyway, that's my anime watch list. It's short, simple, and sweet. One thing I did want to get into is just a little PC drama, I guess you could say. I am focused on one particular channel right now, like really focused on a YouTube channel. It goes by the name of Gray Chin Shinobi. If you guys, support Red Pill stuff, families and just reaction videos, that's what that channel is about. If you, shameless plug, but if you want to go ahead and subscribe for your boy, that would definitely help me out. But my plan, my game plan here is to focus. I have multiple channels. I would love to put my energy into all of them. I have a channel called Just Your Average Fighter, and it's just basically centered around fighting games. And that's one I'm just kind of like waiting for. These are channels I would love to start after I kind of get on my feet with the first channel, which is the Great Chin Shinobi channel. And I've kind of found a sweet spot, a recipe of sorts of how YouTube works. And it works with my workflow. So I'm kind of working hand in hand with that. And currently I think I'm at 125 subs right now on that channel. And hopefully I get monetized this year because I'm pretty much uploading daily on that channel. So right now I have long form content every other day. And then I have shorts on every other day. So pretty much you have a short one day and you have a long form video one day. So every day, technically you have a video going up. But in April, I have started my long form daily content. So basically every day will be a long form video, and you'll also get a short in there too. So really about 2 videos, technically a short, at least one short and one long form video per day on that channel. So with my schedule, that's about as much as I can muster up right now. I have the Random Gameplay Pimpin' YouTube channel that I'm very passionate about as well. But upon experimenting and going through things and uploading and this and that, I'm not going to give that channel the love that it needs until I get more time. So I had to find one channel to focus on. And of course, the most successful one is the one, Great Chin Shinobi. So I'm going to get that one off and running. Hopefully this year that happens. And then I can focus more on the other channels when I get more time. But those are, some of the other channels that I want to focus on eventually. But my goal is to, like I said, in 3 years to kind of semi-retire, if you will. In other words, I won't be really working like a full-time, job with full-time hours. I'm trying to work on scaling that down now. I've got some things in place, and hopefully if everything, does what it's supposed to do, I can make that a reality. And then, certain things will be put in place. Like I said, this channel here, and then the gaming channel will come back, and I'll be able to upload daily over there, and then so on and so forth, and just make everything work. So it's a long plan. It's a marathon. It's not a race for your boy. And that's kind of like what I'm doing, just to give you guys a little taste of what's going on behind the curtain, how the sausage is made, so to speak. But that leads me into this PC drama that I have because, how I get my videos. There's a certain, app that I use to get them. And, I'm rocking an old ass MacBook. I think this MacBook is like 2014. Okay. That's how old this MacBook is. So I had one before that I was using it. It was like a 2012 MacBook. So that one started to, show its age, and not as far as, the hardware, because everything still works. Both laptops are, still working. Matter of fact, I'm going to give one of them away to my daughter, most likely. But, just so she can use for, it's perfectly good for like, surfing the internet and all that type of stuff. I was using it more so for music, production, and, video editing for the most part. So she's not into any of that, so she doesn't worry about that. But anyway, they're just old. And what happens is, and most of you guys know this, but if you keep a computer long enough, eventually the software is going to age to the point where when there are new updates for other things that you like to use, you will be in up shit creek, because then it won't be compatible anymore. So there's a website that I use to download my YouTube videos from, and just my content period, so that I can, for clips or whatever it is that I'm using to do my editing. And all of a sudden it just told me, yeah, we're sorry, but your computer, whatever you're running your Mac on now doesn't support the newest update. So I was like, damn. And it finally happened. So I was like, damn, I was stuck between a rock and a hard place, because in the YouTube space, if you're not familiar how it works, you want to stay on top of it. In other words, you want to keep that knee on that neck, which means how usually most people record their videos for YouTube. They don't do it like daily, right? Because things come up, life happens sometimes. And if you're looking forward to putting out content on a daily basis, or at least consistent, you're going to have times where you're not going to be able to upload or edit for whatever reason. You may go on vacation. You may get sick, whatever it may be. And so a law of averages, most people record in bulk, right? So you'll sit down on a Tuesday and you'll record, 5 videos, and then you will take those 5 videos and upload them to YouTube. And then you will put dates on them when you want them to premiere. So, if you wanted to do daily, of course you do Monday through Friday. Boom, that's 5 days, right? And then Wednesday, same thing. You try to do 4 or 5 videos and you upload those and you plug those in those next days coming. So the goal is to have at least, 2 to 3 weeks of content ahead of time, so that if something comes up or something happens, then you won't necessarily have to worry, because you have videos still coming out. So that's how the game is supposed to be played if you want to grow and you want to get things done. So that's what I've been doing. And so with my computer going outdated, that basically means that, the place that I used to go to get my videos and stuff now, it's in the gutter now. So now I have no way of really getting those videos. And so I needed to upgrade. And I said, you know what? Damn, I knew this day would come because everything else works flawlessly with this MacBook that I got, right? I remember a couple years ago, I gave it a couple upgrades. I think it came with only 8 gigs of RAM and, and I put an SSD in there, and I also just put in 8 more gigs of RAM. And so, spruce it up a little bit, and it gets the job done. It does everything. I'm recording on it right now, literally as we speak, for the podcast, and I use it for everything. So it's been responsible for, my TikTok, my Dragon Ball stuff, everything that I've ever done video wise, it has done for me. But now one of the main things I needed for, I'm not able to do now, which is just get the content. And I'll still be using this laptop for my podcast, and I will still use it for other things, for editing and stuff like that. So I'll just have 2 laptops, and I'll kind of just try to split the workload between the 2. That's probably what I'll end up doing. But I needed one, and so I had to get another Mac. I didn't have to get a Mac, but that's the one I've, chose because I've been using Mac computers for a minute now, and I just fell in love with, the Macs. They're just very expensive. I think you guys know that. And, I think I got, what was it, a MacBook Air, M4? Not even the M5. The M5s just came out, but the M4 I got, and I still ended up paying like $1,100 for that. Okay, so still a pretty penny. I just needed to get, all of my main tasks done, my editing. I'm a light editor. I'm not, Hollywood editing, and I'm not doing multiple layers and all this crazy shit, with my video editing. And some of these editors, man, they are doing, an hour plus, 4K footage, multiple, things within the program. None of that. Okay. I'm basically, the longest video may be 20 minutes for me, and I keep it pushing, guys. Basic stuff, pristine, but still basic. I don't, so for my workload, it's perfect. And that was the cheapest outlet. I mean, that was the cheapest one. I could go get a refurbished one or a used one, but I was like, you know what? I might as well go new with this completely, and just go from there. So I just did that. It'll be here tomorrow. And hopefully, but by the time I get everything set up with it, it shouldn't take but a couple hours for that. And I should be cooking again on my YouTube journey. But yeah, I think on my content with YouTube right now, I think I'm in April right now. So I have content already uploaded and ready to go, all the way up to the 1st or 2nd week of April. And I like to stay ahead like that. I don't like to be less than 1 month ahead of my videos because all kinds of things happen. Sometimes I'll go through a drought. A new game may come out, like Neo, when Neo 3 dropped, I had time to actually sit down and play it and not worry about, I need to work on videos and stuff. That's why I kind of do that. You know what I mean? So, other guys who do this, you probably know what I'm talking about. Or if you're looking to get into like YouTube or anything like that, these are some of the things that you have to keep on your mind, if you're thinking about really doing this and being serious with it, because the key to YouTube, in my opinion, that I've discovered is just to be honest with you, really there's only one rule. If you can stick to this one rule, it's almost guaranteed that you will become successful. Now, the only thing I wouldn't be able to give you guys is a time frame on that. The time frame will be different for different people. But if you use this one thing, which is consistency, then your YouTube channel will grow. I don't care if you're sitting on a toilet and you just do a YouTube channel about taking a shit. If you upload daily, on YouTube, with any kind of content, then you just have to wait, sit back and wait and time, and it will just come, right? I just have videos just trickling in, subscribers trickling in. Like, I was talking to my son earlier today. I had 423, and now I just checked before I got on here. I got 2 new subs on. I'm at 425. And then who knows what will happen between now and me being asleep and waking up. As long as you're uploading, it will happen for you. It's just a matter of time after that. So everything else, what everybody else is trying to tell you, sell you, or whatever, I'm sure they can give you other hints and tips, but that's the main one I would give people, because it's worked for me, and I think it will work for almost anybody. Anyway, sorry for that long-winded explanation, but that's kind of like been what I've been kind of going through lately, and so that's just on my plate right now. But anyway, let's get back to the lecture at hand, and let's get into some Sony talk, guys, because I want to talk about this God of War TV show that people are talking about now. Now, there have been some shots, still shots that have been, coming out. And I have to just be honest, guys, it looks like it looks like somebody put a tub of warm butter on the counter and is about to use it. Okay. And on our eyes, at least that's how I feel. I feel like somebody's about to use this warm butter, pour it all into my eyes. And while I'm blinded, they're going to hit me over the head with a foreign object and then do strange things to me in the night. And everything should not be made into a live action show, movie, whatever you want to call it, guys. This just shows me that. This just reaffirms that for me. I remember when the Dragon Ball movie came out, and, that was before memes and all that shit, but you can still find your memes today now. It's just not, it's not conducive in my opinion. Like if you have not seen the images of Kratos in the sun, go ahead and take that look. Okay. Go ahead and Google it, and pause this podcast and Google it if you got time, just so you can understand what I'm saying. It looks off. It looks strange. It looks all the characters. It throws me off. I don't think I can ever get used to that being Kratos and the boy being Atreus, his son. They look nothing like their counterparts, nothing at all. And I know, The Last of Us did something similar to this, because Ellie didn't look anything like Ellie, and they kind of grew on me, as characters. But this is different. This is different. And I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to watch it simply because it is, God of War, and I am curious. But at first glance, guys, I don't feel good about it. I don't feel good about it at all. It's coming out on Prime Video at some point. Production, I think, started in February. So it just started. So we probably won't see this until maybe the end of the year, or maybe early 2027. But it is in the works, and I'm just giving you guys a fair warning because it doesn't look good from what I'm seeing right now. Could I be surprised? Could I be wrong? Anything is possible, but if I got my money on it, I wouldn't bet on it. But that's just me. Check it out for yourself. I would love to, I would love you guys to tell me how you feel about it, but that's just me. Anyway, that's out of the way. Let's move on, and let's get into more Sony. And when we're talking about Sony, I got some awesome shit to talk about real quick. And this is about NIER Automata. Yes, Yoko Taro, the god. Okay. Apparently, we are going to get a continuation of the story, guys. Okay. This was teased at Square Enix's 9th anniversary live stream. Okay. So we got confirmation that it will continue. I was hoping and praying that we were going to get something in this universe, something else with this story, with these characters, anything, man. I don't give a damn. It's on one. NIER Automata is in my top 10 all-time video games ever. And if you haven't played it, you'll never know. So just go play it. You can almost play it anywhere now. The Switch, you can play it on the fucking PlayStation. Well, you can play it on Nintendo Switch. I think PC as well. I think it's everywhere. I think PC has a shitty port. I don't know if they corrected it or not. Apparently, last time I checked, they were still trying to figure that one out. But definitely on the Switch now, and definitely on the PS4, PS5, whatever one you can play it on. But that has to be in anybody's collection. If you're a gamer and you collect games and stuff, you got to add this one. You got to add it and experience it. But anyway, I'm just so hyped that we're going to get a sequel. Yoko Taro's probably been working on it for who knows how long. And if you don't know Yoko Taro, he is definitely a character, okay? He is definitely unconventional, the furthest thing from conventional you can think of. And that's how artists are. Like, he's brilliant to me. He's a genius to me in his storytelling. And, a lot of these guys tend to, sit on that side of the spectrum. They're just over the top. He's always wearing a mask. You know what I mean? And he's in his own world. And I love that about him. So I call him the mad genius. So I'm just glad that we actually have more NIER coming. It's going to be crazy to see what this is going to look like now. We're going to get this on the PS5. and the Unreal Engine. I don't know what engine they're using, but NIER Automata was beautiful. But imagine how it's going to be able to look now, upscaled and all these things. I think it's going to be a good look. I cannot wait. Man, 2B, A2. I mean, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this. I want to hear more, and I will definitely keep you posted when we do. But I had to share that with you guys. They also went over 10 million sold finally. So they have surpassed 10 million copies sold. And, this game here definitely is what's the word? It's a cult classic. I'd call it a cult classic. 10 million is not really that much in the scale of things when you talk about other games, but it's still a solid, number, because I think Final Fantasy 16 only sold about 3 million, maybe 3.5 million, something like that. So, if you look at it like that, and I love Final Fantasy 16, so, it is what it is. That's another cult classic, I guess. But anyway, go play NIER if you haven't played it. Please go check it out. And go play NIER, the first one, which was the prequel to that. I mean, also an excellent game. Soundtracks, both amazing. I don't even know which one is better. They're both, depending on which day you wake me up on. But some of the greatest video game music ever made, in my opinion, as well. That's just another opinion of mine. But yeah, so good news there. While we're still talking about this PlayStation stuff, there has also been an announcement with the PSSR2, which is basically an AI-driven upscaling software. Okay. And apparently that is coming soon to the PS5 Pro. Okay. Now, here's my issue with that. Okay. When it comes to the PS5 versus the PS5 Pro and the price differential between the two, it's not worth it. And I've never been one to fall for the banana in the tailpipe when it came to the PS4 Pro or the PS5 Pro. So I will not be buying the PS5 Pro, and I never bought the PS4 Pro. The base ones are fine for me. I've never had any issues with that. And the problem is Sony, in my opinion, anyone who already had a PS5 or a PS4 and then decided to get the Pro versions, you're being played. If I'm being honest, you're being played because you're getting diminished returns. Basically, they made the PS4 and PS5 so good that, squeezing a little bit extra out of it doesn't justify paying the prices they're asking for, in my opinion. But a lot of people tend to do it because they're, they just love Sony that much. And they, if that's your prerogative, if that's what you want to do. But I'm just telling you guys, from my standpoint, and I consider myself a gamer, been gaming ever since I was small, right? And haven't looked back since the Nintendo. So I was here for the Nintendo, had the first Nintendo on up, Super Nintendo, Sega, all these things, guys, going on up. And so, for me, it's not worth it. It isn't worth it. And I heard somebody, who did I hear? I was listening to ACG, I think, the other day, and he was talking about this. Matter of fact, I think he was talking about it today. I listened to his podcast on Saturdays, and he was saying that when you're dealing with, he tested it. He had a chance to play something on the PS5 Pro and then, compared to the PS5, he said it wasn't worth it at all. It just wasn't worth that purchase. And he owns a PS5, the base model, like me. And it was like, nah, I'm not doing it. And I was laughing when I heard him say that because I felt exactly the same way about the PS4 Pro, and I feel the same way about the PS5 Pro. It's just another way. And you can almost guarantee whenever Sony puts something out like this, it's already baked into their ecosystem. So, when the next PS6 comes out, eventually there's going to be a PS6 Pro. Okay. It's almost like clockwork. You should already know that now. So just be prepared to do that, and always be prepared for them to hype it up. You always notice that because whenever the PS5 Pro first came out, every game that they show, even at the events and stuff like that, it'll show on a computer. It'll say, gameplay from the PS5 Pro. They want to try to oversell it. Even though if you put the PS5, the base PS5 on there and showed it, you wouldn't be able to tell. You literally would not really be able to tell any differences. Okay. And there's even points of a lot of these games for the PS5 Pro, they play worse on the PS5 Pro than the base PS5. because the base PS5 is the standard. They build everything around that. Now, when you try to add shit and squeeze shit in here and there and do extra shit with the Pro, that's when you get those diminished returns. And sometimes you get more issues than you do making it look better. And that's an issue that a lot of companies were having with the PS5 Pro. So in my opinion, it's just not, the jump is not anywhere close to justify paying that money. It's just not. And they try to get you, that's where they try to get a lot of people. They try to get a lot of people to get it and go ahead and get the Pro. Now, if you don't have a PS5 and you're trying to get a PS5, then I would say, okay, well then, depending on how much it is, go ahead and get the Pro if you're going to get one. But I'd even argue and say, to be honest with you, to save some money, get you the base PS5 because you're not really missing anything. If you can save yourself a couple $100, at least $150, why do that? Just get you the base PS5 and rock out like that. So that's just where I stand on it, guys. I'm sure people have different opinions on that or whatever. And I'm sure there's some games out there that were optimized perfectly for the PS5 Pro. And you may be able to see a little bit more of a difference, but those games are far and in between. You may get one out of 100 games that might work for, but it's still not significant enough to where you'd say, damn, I wish I had a PS5 Pro. I've never seen anybody play PS5 Pro and have me say, damn, I wish I had the Pro version. Never felt that way. Never at all. That's just my opinion on it. It's just a marketing ploy, guys, is what it is to me, in my opinion, but I'll leave it there. Anyway, let's jump off of there. And now let's talk a little bit about Sony pulling back. Apparently, these guys are talking about pulling back on exclusives. Yes, they've changed their tune, so to speak. And I was a little flabbergasted, so I dug a little deeper, and apparently this doesn't apply to AA or live service games. Of course, that would make sense. And also indie games. So, indie developers, of course, want their games, if they had the choice, they want their games to be able to be accessible everywhere, as many places as it can, every system if possible. So I understand that. And that's why that would never change. And then the AA scene as well, they feel the same way. It's only the live service. It's only not the live service. Live service is the same. They're going to try to sell to everyone. But the only ones you're talking single player, first party games. These are the ones that Sony is saying, well, we still have an identity. We still feel that we have an identity and we want to keep that. And we don't want to go away from that. So we want to focus more when it comes to our first party games, especially the ones that are, single player. We want to keep those, for our players, so to speak, our PlayStation owners. And it makes sense. I mean, those are my favorite games, single player, first party exclusives from Sony. I mean, I love them. We haven't been getting a lot of those as of late because they kind of taken their foot off the gas. They've kind of gotten a little complacent, a little lazy, if I'm being honest. And, when it was the console war going on, they had their foot on the gas. But once they realized that there was no more console war and Xbox went third party everything, then they said, well, why are we busting our ass trying to push out all these first party games when we can slow our roll, we can put out less, and we can, spoon feed now, and we can kind of just, take our time. And we can explore other genres like live service. And then they tried to do some live service. They lost a shit ton of money. Okay. And they're still hemorrhaging some of that money, trying to recover some of that, trying to go for that lotto ticket game. Everybody's looking for that next Fortnite. And they realize it's not as easy as that. And they could have, taken those resources and done so much more with those resources. And it would have been better. They would have been better for it, because then you could put out banger first party games. And then later down the line, if you wanted to, you had that freedom. Hey, well, I'm going to keep it exclusive, or we can say, okay, we're going to push it out to PC. You still have that option. You have more wiggle room. But they just said, look, we're going to focus more on that when it comes to our first person or first party single player games. And I'm glad. I mean, because hopefully they turn up the gas, okay, and start kicking these out like they used to. Now, I understand that that's wishful thinking, because especially in the era that we live in now when it comes to games, guys, you need a whole ass studio Okay. Like you would have making a movie or something or a TV show. You need studios that size to make these games now because they're so graphically intensive and you need multiple people on this stuff, guys. And that's just where we're at now. Technology has pushed us there and we haven't caught up. We haven't been able to catch up to where we can kind of circumvent a lot of the workload. And because the technology is not there yet. You know what I mean? So everybody's still trying to figure out current technology and the shit gets bigger and bigger. The game size gets bigger and bigger until we reach a new plateau technology wise. I don't see that changing. So for them to try to push out more games, I can see that happening. But if we're going to actually get it like we used to, I don't think so. I really don't. Maybe we get a extra game here or there, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. But this is just my opinion. This is just what I think is going to happen. But, there were some issues. There were some talks about Bloodborne and how, some stuff came out about Bloodborne and everybody has been asking, well, a lot of the Dark Souls fans have been wanting a Bloodborne remake or just a definitive edition or something. And it has not happened. You would think that it would happen, but it hasn't. And apparently in 2025, Bluepoint actually went to Sony and asked them, hey, can we redo Bloodborne? And Sony said yes, but you have to run it through the final boss, and the final boss is From Software. And the president of From Software said, no, not going to do it. And they said, why? And they said, well, because our plate is full. We got other projects we got going on, and we want to oversee this type of stuff. This is stuff that, we are very passionate about, our IPs. We hold them close to our vest, and we want to make sure it's being done right. And we want to have the resources to actually oversee some of this stuff. And right now we don't have the time to do that. And apparently that is the reason why the Bloodborne remake or definitive edition has not been greenlit. And hopefully maybe one day it will be, because most people say, hey, look, man, I would kill for just 60 frames, just a 60 frame update. Now, PC players are already doing that to a certain degree, but actually one that really is done by the company. And, usually when they do stuff like this, definitive editions, they give you all the DLC. You get, maybe some extras, maybe behind the scenes stuff, whatever they want to add to it, maybe a hard case cover or something like Steelbook, whatever it may be. And so I think it would sell extremely well with all the Dark Souls fans. That's my favorite Dark Souls game from them besides Armored Core 6. Armored Core 6 is my number one. But as far as the Dark Souls games or in that genre, if you will, Bloodborne is my numero uno. And so, it is what it is. Yeah, even more than Elden Ring. I really love Bloodborne, love the characters, loved the story, loved all of that, loved the design, all of those things. So I had great memories playing that too, man. So many great memories. Beat the game, beat the DLCs, all that stuff. Had a blast doing it. It's one of those games where people really want to see it. And I think From Software just has so much shit going on in the background that we don't know about personally either. It had to be something for them to say no. And who knows, that may surprise us with something crazy. We may get something from them. Maybe they're working on their own Bloodborne, whatever. Maybe they're working on a Bloodborne 2 and we don't even know it. And so they haven't greenlit that yet. Maybe they have something planned for that, because a lot of times they'll put out or they'll release a trailer, Bloodborne 2, and then a little after that, and while you wait, here's Bloodborne remastered or definitive edition or something. So we don't know what these guys are cooking, but we do know they're always in the kitchen, damn sure. And so I'm waiting. I'm waiting for some more Armored Core. That's what I'm waiting on. That's what I want to drop. Armored Core 7 or some DLC for Armored Core 6. I'm here for it all day. But I'm also interested to see what else they're doing, what they're cooking. So who knows, man? But they have their reasons. And I guess all we can do as gamers is respect that and kind of thank them for giving us Bloodborne in the first place. Because without it, we wouldn't be bitching about trying to get a definitive edition if the game wasn't so good in the beginning, right? So that's how I kind of look at it. Anyway, that's it on that tier, guys. And I think that's about all I got this week for you guys. There's not too much else really going on right now. Now, we do have some releases. Of course, we do have Resident Evil, which I have not purchased yet because I'm still playing the L3. I'm stuck in a spot right now where they're tree is at. The tree, I forgot the name of the stage, but there's a big ass tree and you got to get to the bottom, and I'm kind of right there. So yeah, I still have a lot of play time on Neo 3. And I told myself I'm not going to just buy games to have them and not even do it. Like, why would I spend $75 for no reason if I'm not ready to play it now? And then I heard somebody talking about, Resident Evil is one of those games where you got to be in a Resident Evil kind of mood to experience those as well. And, some people aren't ready for that right now. And me personally, I'm still kind of in that Neo zone. I just want to get through Neo, at least my first playthrough with Neo before I do New Game Plus, and then go for the next game. And then I may even skip Resident Evil because Crimson Desert is coming in a few weeks and just go to Crimson Desert. And then after Crimson Desert, go circle back around and get Resident Evil and do that. That's what I'll probably end up doing. That's probably the path I'm on, because by the time I get done with Neo, it'll be close to that coming out. And then I say, you know what, let me just sit on that. And also Resident Evil 7 is a short game as well. It's a great game. Everybody is singing its praises. It's got a shit ton of 5 out of 5s, 10 out of 10s, and all of that. And I love Leon Kennedy. That is my boy. So I am buying the game. Please don't get it twisted. But the game goes anywhere from 8 to 15 hours tops. I mean, that's completing everything, so it's not a very long game. I remember 4 was extensive, 4 was always a huge game. So I'm just, like I said, I'm going to wait until I got some of these other games done, and then I'll go back and circle around to Resident Evil and jump out and do that. That's probably what I'm doing right now, guys. Nothing else right now seems to be going on. I mean, it's been kind of slow. There's been a lot of games, quiet games, that I've seen, or trailers. There's just so many games. It's hard to keep up with all this shit, guys. And then I'm focused on so many other things too. So it's kind of like, I follow everything enough because I have this show to do, and I'm a gamer, so I'm gonna be out here in it, and I'm a big enough gamer to where I care about the news, I care about what's cooking and what's coming out and everything like that. So I'll continue to do that shit, but that's my timeline right now, and that's probably what I'll end up doing. I've been waiting for Crimson Desert for so long. This is my most anticipated game. Will it be able to top Neo? Because Neo's got that surprise of the year for me right now. There's so many games. You still have with Grand Theft Auto coming out later on this year. There's some bangers coming. Just get your popcorn ready, man. There's a lot of shit popping. But with that being said, I think that's going to do it. I want to thank everybody for downloading, streaming, however you consume the podcast, man. Thank you for lending me your ears. If you're new, man, I hope to see you guys again. We do this every Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. And I'll see you guys next week, baby. Okay. It's your boy, Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Random Gameplay Pimpin'. See you next time.